Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Search Talk Live. With me today is Caleb McKelvin, my co-host. Caleb, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Happy to be back for another show.
Yeah,
and I think we got a really good one in store today for our listeners. A lot of good information and an awesome guest.
Yeah. Just to give you guys, if you're first time listening, I want to give you a little bit of information on the show. We are Search Talk Live. We talk about nothing but digital marketing, search engine optimization,
social media.
Yeah, social media, conversion optimization, all that good stuff.
Yes.
Anything that's happening with Google, we talk about that, or Bing.
Yep.
Yahoo.
Bing, Yahoo. No.
Kidding.
Yeah, we're Search Talk Live. We are powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies. You can go to robertpalmercompanies.com, check that out. We really appreciate them helping us here at Search Talk Live and all they do for us. But let's get this thing started, Rob.
Well, I want to tell everybody where they can hear us at. You can get the show on iTunes. You can download it from your iPhone. Sprecher, which is another where we disseminate all the information from. You can get us where else? The website, searchtalklive.com.
Yeah, go to searchtalklive.com.
Yeah, so
got all the info on there.
Yeah, but today I'm really excited. We have a guest, probably one of the most downloaded plugins in the WordPress hemisphere.
Yes.
We have Yoast.
Yes, Mr. Joost de Valk.
Yes.
Are we pronouncing that right? Joost de Valk?
You're actually pretty good for an American.
Well, see, I'm American and I'm Southern, so that's kind of like a double whammy. So it's kind of hard to pronounce some things. But Joost de Valk, how you doing today? We appreciate you joining us.
I'm doing very fine. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You're in the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
Wow.
We are in this tiny country with well, it's probably as big as the state of New York or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what's the temperature there?
It's currently 4 degrees Celsius outside. I don't even know what that is in terms of.
It's the same when you go past zero, pretty much.
Yeah. Y'all are pretty cold there. Yeah.
It's that's 39.2 Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're cold. We got a little better over here, nice and sunny Florida. So doing good.
Don't even get me started.
So, Yoast, we kind of want to start out our listenership. We have from experienced SEO to digital marketing to people that are just getting into the industry to kind of small business owners wanting to learn more. You just give us a little bit about your background, how you got started and currently what you're doing?
Okay. So I started out in SEO approximately 10 years ago, coming from a variety of IT backgrounds. I walked into an SEO job, became a consultant, rather quickly started blogging about SEO and became a speaker on the international circuit. From there, about 5.5 years ago now, I started my own company doing SEO for rather big brands. Mm-hmm. I was doing at that time companies like KLM and eBay, etc. So I did that for a while. Had started developing WordPress plugins as a hobby on the side, and the hobby turned into more of a nuisance because I had over 1 million users, and that filled my inbox far too quickly.
Right.
Basically got told by my wife that I needed to do something about that. And she was right in many ways.
Yeah.
So we started to look at, okay, how can we monetize this? Can we build a company around this? So the company I'd started was in the beginning mostly consulting and just me. And then from 2012 onwards, we started doing premium plugins. And we've grown tremendously since. So I started in 2010, hired my first employee in 2012, and there's 37 of us now.
Oh, wow.
It's been a bit of growth. And we are indeed one of the, our SEO plugin, Yoast SEO for WordPress is probably, in the top 3 most downloaded plugins for WordPress at any given time.
How many would you say downloads has been? I mean, if you don't care sharing that.
Downloads is a public number, but doesn't really say that much because every new download on a site that's already active counts as a new download. Okay. We know that we've got in between 4.5 and 5 million active sites.
Wow.
Jeez.
And we know that according to builtwith.org, of the top 1 million websites out there, over 8% uses our plugin. That's not just WordPress sites, that's the top 1 million sites overall.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So yeah, the impact of that is, to be honest, even to us, still ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you look at those numbers and you just go like, ouch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you do a little bit of a sales pitch here. Somebody just getting started, because we've spoke with many of our listeners, and some meetup groups that we have, people just getting a WordPress up, how do they get it started and stuff. Why would somebody, I'll let you put it in your own words, why would somebody just getting started that doesn't know that much about SEO yet, why would they need this plugin, and how is it going to help their site?
So what we strive to do is we strive to take all of the technical problems away from you and just fix them for you. So you install the plugin and we take care of a lot of things automatically. That's honestly something we don't talk about much and probably should talk about more ourselves.
Right.
And then we give you, when you're writing a new post or page, we give you a box below that. Below your input fields, we give you a box where you can say, okay, so what's the word that you would like to rank for with this post? And then based on what you put in there, we give you feedback on, okay, if you want to rank for that term, you should do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
Those are what has become known as our green bullets. And if you look at our Twitter stream, you'll see people go like, yeah, I got all greens and stuff like that, which is awesome. So we're basically trying to gamify you into writing well SEO'd content.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now, do y'all see any challenges as far as there's a lot of SEOs out there that says, well, don't necessarily focus on keyword specific, focus on, what's the individual looking for, the user looking for, kind of what's their intent. And they're kind of saying stay away from, don't worry about the green bullets, don't worry about all this. I mean, is there something you can say to that? Because it's still something you might need to focus on, but a lot of people are saying, you can ignore that, you can still focus on, that's not necessarily good SEO.
Your first and the first and foremost thing that we tell you all the time, if you read our blog posts and everything that we put out there in terms of content, is focus on good content, good quality, well-written stuff.
Right.
And make sure that SEO is a part of your thinking, but don't necessarily change that all that much because you think that that's better for your SEO. So we're not going to tell you to get like a 4% keyword density or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think what he's referencing is because of the green light goes off of exact match phrase, how many times it shows up, in a article or whatever it may be, that not necessarily focus on that exact match phrase. Maybe there's a variation of that.
That's absolutely true. This is the reason why recently, when we updated to our latest version, we introduced a multiple keyword functionality in our premium plugin, where you can actually do, where you could put in synonyms. Nice. So you could optimize for several terms at the same time, and we're working hard on making that analysis even better.
Right.
The problem is that we're doing textual analysis in JavaScript, so we have some technical
boundaries. Huh?
Yeah, we have some technical boundaries, and we don't exactly have the computing power that Google has.
Right.
At the same time, and this might sound very weird to a lot of SEOs, but keyword density does still work, especially if you're non-English.
Sure.
In countries like the Netherlands or in Germany or in France or Spain, etc., having a somewhat higher keyword density does actually very often help with ranking. So you'll need the exact term. Of course, you can rank for specific terms without having that exact term in your content, but you're making it an awful lot harder for yourself.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's why we still ask for that keyword, and we still do matching on that specific keyword in headings in your content, in your first paragraph. But if you're doing more phrase-like stuff, I'm the first to tell you that probably doesn't always translate into the best scores in our plugin, because we just can't do that from a computing perspective.
Sure. Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I mean, we've been, since that recent update you've done a couple months ago, I love it. It's made a huge difference.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's funny. There's a couple of people that hate it, especially the real time bit of it.
Yeah.
It's honestly, and please don't think I'm bragging, but it's honestly a bit like when Facebook changes timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're running on like 5 million websites, and that probably means that there is, on average, about 10 million different people looking at our interface over the course of a month.
Right. Can't please everybody, right?
You're right.
And yeah, we've basically given up on pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work like that. So we're doing what we think is best. And at the same time, with this new update, and we're working on yet another update, as always, where we'll try to improve the UI and UX a bit.
Right.
But it's hard work getting this to work for everybody.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't mind, we could run through, the plugin a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So, which bits would you want to go through?
Let's just go from the top down. Got what, general first?
In terms of settings pages, so
yeah.
One of the things that for the semi long term, our plan is to reduce those more and more, because I want most of those things to, I think, should either be core functionality of WordPress, or should not be settings at all, but just be right.
Yeah.
So, if you, on general, you'll not find that many interesting things in terms of specific SEO bits.
Mm-hmm.
We'll ask for a couple of fields like your company name, if it's a company website, or your personal name, so we can fill the necessary knowledge graph metadata. So we'll automatically output JSON-LD script tags with knowledge graph fields so that Google can automatically fill all those.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of these things is that explaining exactly what you're going to use it for is actually harder than just asking people to input it.
Right.
There's a couple of settings there in terms of security that are interesting if you have users on your site that you don't necessarily trust with everything.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff to connect your site to the various Google Webmaster Tools and Bing Webmaster Tools and blah. Google Search Console. I can't get used to that.
Yeah, I still call it Webmaster Tools.
So what does this disable the advanced part of Yoast?
On a post,
oh, okay.
But if you check that box, which will be a toggle soon, then in the on any given post you have an edit section, and there's an advanced tab there that allows you to do stuff like redirects and allows you to put no index of post, etc. If you check that box, everyone below editor is not able to do any of those settings.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is where, if you don't trust all your authors to do stuff like that, it's by default they can't do that. So this box allows you to allow them to do that while they can't do it by default.
Right. Okay. All right. And let's move on to titles and metas.
Yeah. So titles and metas is where the core, the magic of this plugin happens, I think, in many ways.
Yeah. Because
it allows you to set up templates for what your titles and meta descriptions on posts will look like. And it does this for posts and for pages. And if you have a bigger site, then you'll have multiple custom post types or custom taxonomies. It allows you to set up templates for all of these.
Gotcha.
So you set a template here, and then every post will have a title based on the template that you've set here, and then you can alter that to be more specific on the individual posts, or override the template entirely.
Gotcha.
In many ways, that is something that should be in WordPress core.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And we're slowly working towards that.
Yeah, and the thing I like too on this is you're able to block tags and stuff like that because, with the whole duplicate content issues and all that stuff. That's
yeah.
Awesome.
You're able to block tags from being indexed. You're even able to, if you have one of the things that I find annoying in WordPress is if you have a single author blog, then your author archives will be the exact duplicate of your homepage.
Right.
So you can disable them entirely because it's just stupid to have them.
Right.
And the same goes for date-based archives. For some sites, it just doesn't make sense to have date-based archives. So we allow you to disable those entirely, which is not something that core allows, in WordPress core by itself allows you to do. It just doesn't allow you to disable archives like that. They are always there.
Right.
You can not link to them sometimes, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. So, there's some specific settings there for having a specific meta tags on pages that I honestly don't really think that are all that interesting anymore. So we stuff like hiding. I'm not looking at the backend right now. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I think under advanced there's stuff like hiding specific fields.
Sure.
That's stuff that will probably move out of the plugin because we don't think it's that important anymore.
The no follow, no index and stuff? Or?
Well, no, not the no follow, no index one. No, no, sorry, we'll move that to advanced. That's somewhere else already. You'll see that we play with these quite a bit. We're trying to make it simpler and simpler and simpler to work with this.
Yeah.
It can be a bit hard for people to do this. So we're hoping that we're getting to the point where the defaults are so good that most people won't even have to get into these settings.
Yeah. Very good. Let's see. We got the taxonomies.
Yeah, so you can do the same thing that you can do for posts, you can do for taxonomies. As of the recent release, you can actually also add individual categories and tags, etc., and get a snippet preview on that and see what they will look like in Google, etc., and optimize the Facebook and Twitter looks of those pages when they're shared. A ton of work went into that to actually help you optimize your category and tag pages. Mm-hmm. I think in light of the recent changes, actually the last weekend's changes in Google, where you saw a lot of category pages suddenly pop up.
Right.
That's actually something that you could do a lot of work with.
And then, let's see, archives. You've got that page. It's duplicate content prevention.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that. We're trying to become better at that too. Well, so one of the problems we often see in the website reviews that we do for customers, they'll have like a tag, for instance, a tag Google Analytics and a category Google Analytics. And that really doesn't benefit you all that much.
No.
So we're trying to make it easier to prevent stuff like that from becoming a problem.
Gotcha.
And we're actually also trying to make it easier to just get rid of one or the other. And if you have our premium plugin, we'll even let you easily delete it, and you'll get a pop-up to redirect it. You can just redirect it to the other one.
Yep. And then moving on to social.
Yeah. So there's a lot of power in the plugin that has not all that much directly to do with SEO. It's because we think our SEO and social are so intertwined that you need to do both well to be able to do either one of them good.
Yeah.
So the most important one there is Facebook. basically you'll want our plugin to take care of all your Facebook Open Graph data, because Google uses a lot of that too.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other ones, but the funny thing is they all fall back to Facebook Open Graph if you don't have them. Mm-hmm. So if Facebook on and you don't do anything for Twitter, and Twitter still uses the stuff you use for Facebook. And Google Plus is even worse in that the settings that you probably see there now will be gone soon, because Google seems to be favoring Facebook Open Graph data more than its own bloody meta tags.
Isn't that funny?
Which is only one more nail in the coffin of Google Plus. So basically what this allows you to do is connect your site to your Facebook page or whatever it is that you use. So you can use Facebook Insights.
Yep.
And it allows you to do a couple of settings around that. But I think most people should not turn that off.
Yeah, definitely. I like the Twitter cards too. I mean, those are great.
Yeah, those work pretty well. I have to admit that I thought them a lot more interesting a year ago. And now they're auto-generating them for everyone, and they got rid of like half of the types.
Yeah.
So the product type and a couple of other ones that were really cool to use are all gone.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but it is what it is. It's Twitter.
Yeah. Well, if you are just joining us, you're tuning into Search Talk Live, obviously, hosted by Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin. We are powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies, robertpalmercompanies.com. Go check it out. A lot of cool stuff for you there on a wide range of services. Awesome show for you today. We do have Mr. Joost de Valk, the CEO and founder of the plugin Yoast, one of the top plugins downloaded for WordPress. And, a lot of good stuff. So, we can move on through the tool here.
Yeah, we got XML Sitemaps.
We do. And so this is something that I think should be in WordPress core, and that we've talked to the WordPress core team extensively about already, and that will probably at some point get into WordPress core in a slightly amended version.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to add a lot to it. I mean, being able to disable maybe posts or pages that you don't want and all that. You still have to have Yoast. So.
The question is whether you want to give people that freedom. Right. If a URL is on your site and you don't want it indexed, why is it on your site?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
there might be a follow. I mean, no follow. I mean,
you
follow,
might,
but no index.
You might want to no index it and stuff like that, and that will probably always be something that a plugin should do for you, unless you want to no index your entire site, at which point you don't need the XML sitemaps in the first place.
Yeah.
The problem is XML sitemaps are very hard to maintain from a plugin, and would be a lot easier if they were in core. Mm-hmm. And that as an SEO, I no longer think that XML sitemaps are all that important, because what we're seeing more and more is that if you just do your internal link structure right, that you don't really need XML sitemaps, and that they add a lot of work and a lot of code to a plugin like ours. Mm-hmm. Whereas and people think that is the most important bit of it. Whereas if I could have you spend 2 hours on your XML sitemaps versus spending 2 hours on optimizing your content, would get you a ton more benefit than actually doing anything about your XML sitemaps.
Gotcha. Now, I have a question I've been dying to ask you. When you generate a sitemap and you have a link back to Yoast on there, did that give you any issues as far as algorithms?
It's not. The link is not in the XML sitemap. It's in the style sheet.
Right. Okay.
So it doesn't get indexed.
Okay.
It's purely promotional.
Right.
But it doesn't do anything for Google. And it doesn't. Well, it's very similar to having a link in your style.css file.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious because back in the day, everybody building plugins were throwing links back to their site from the plugins, and then.
So that's not allowed. But because it's in the style sheet,
Okay.
it's allowed.
Very cool. Yeah, because I was kind of surprised. I figured when I run Yoast through, I would see millions and millions of links, but that wasn't the case. So.
They're not. So basically, what you see is you get an XML file that we throw an XSL. So that's a style sheet for XML.
Right.
On top of that, which allows us to do the sorting and all that stuff. Doesn't actually give us links.
Gotcha.
In a way, I wish we could, but at the same time, Yoast.com has enough authority of itself that we don't really need it anymore either.
Yeah. It might be a penguin issue too.
Well, I think it would be that many links that Google would just not be able to even do any like penguin related issues towards that. It's just too much. I mean, if 5 million sites link to you, and they're actual proper sites.
Yeah.
I mean, people using our plugin some of the sites are incredible. I mean, Wired.com uses it, The New Yorker uses it, Disney uses it on StarWars.com, and on a couple of other sites. And you go like, oh shit, I would like links from all of those.
Yeah. Those are authoritative.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a few you wouldn't want links from too.
There's probably also a few porn sites and other things that I'd rather not have. I think I'd take them along with all the other ones. But no. So it doesn't do anything for us other than tell people how they generated that XML sitemap.
Gotcha.
And it's great because you can take things out of the sitemap that you don't want indexed, which is great. Flexibility.
So, but as I said, I honestly, I think about 1/3 of our support is related to XML sitemaps.
Mm-hmm.
And we handle for our premium customers. I think we handle about 4,000 to 5,000 support requests a month. And I honestly don't think they're that important.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing where we really can't get rid of it because everyone would go like, yeah, but it's so important. And I don't really think it's that important.
Yeah. I mean, it's added.
Well, it's not bad. It's just it's for the amount of code and work that goes into it, I'd like a lot more benefit. Yeah. And that's why we focus on our content analysis more and more, because with every update, you see Google getting better at all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the technical stuff is just technical SEO used to be something that could get huge gains.
Right.
And if you're on WordPress now, the technical SEO bit will get you maybe a 5 or 10% uplift if you install the plugin and suddenly get like a couple of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But then getting the real uplift requires for you to actually do real writing.
Yeah. I guess it's labor intensive for you guys, right?
It is. But, well, everything is labor intensive for us, because if you run on 5 million websites, then every small problem becomes a big problem.
Yeah. Very quickly, I'm sure.
Yeah. So stuff that we will never find in testing and will suddenly happen on 100 or 1,000 sites, because those sites have specific things. That's the other side of being big. It's awesome to be so big, and at the same time, it has its issues. But we've been able to grow a nice development team around it. So we've got 10 developers working for us now, and that allows us to do a lot of this work and keep everybody happy.
Let's move on to the advanced in there. We have breadcrumbs and permalinks.
Yes, it's something that I actually think is very cool and not enough people use, because the breadcrumbs in our plugin are very powerful, and if you have them, they even show up in the customizer now. You can customize them straight in the WordPress customizer and do cool things with them. And I think they're, from an SEO perspective, those are actually something that add value.
Sure. Now, if you have a theme already that has breadcrumbs in it, does it override or what?
No. We are looking at whether we can do that for more themes. We do that for a couple. So if you use Genesis, then they are overridden by ours. And most of the Woo theme stuff too. That's because both of them use my original breadcrumbs code that we can override. But in most cases, you'll have to replace them yourself, which is why they're under advanced, because they just don't work for a large proportion of people.
Yeah. And then the permalinks. Now, that's part of the core in Google. In WordPress. So how does that work with?
So we have a couple of settings there that allow you to clean up your permalinks.
Okay.
They're pretty scary settings. There's a couple of settings there that I've wanted to throw out like a couple of times, but get so much backlash over that they're still in there. But the clean up your permalink setting, where it'll automatically strip parameters away from your URL, which is awesome because WordPress doesn't normally use parameters.
Right. Well, you're talking about like the category.
Yeah. Well, so you've got question mark.
Oh yeah.
X is 1, stuff like that. If you add that to a URL, nothing changes in WordPress, and just redirect that out immediately. The problem is that there's more and more plugins that actually do add parameters to URLs.
Yeah.
And so when people enable that, then suddenly their site stops working and they blame me.
What if they're doing session variables and stuff like that?
Well, you shouldn't.
Okay.
But normally WordPress doesn't have any of that. So on a clean WordPress install, that setting is actually awesome.
Gotcha.
It becomes a problem when you run a plugin that does stuff with the URL that it shouldn't. But because people run a ton of combination of plugins, it's impossible for us to maintain that in a good way.
Gotcha.
So that's why we moved that to advanced and tell people that they should only use that if you're really sure that they want to use that. But if you're sure that your URLs are always clean, then checking that box is actually something that can help you a lot.
Sure. So what if it's on an existing site and you strip away the category? Does it redirect those to the page?
Yeah. So if your URL is example.com/category/SEO and you strip away the category, then the URL will become example.com/SEO.
Okay. But if it's indexed the other way?
Is if you have posts and you have the category name in the permalink of your posts. So at that point, you could have your post could be example.com/SEO/example post.
Right.
And then if you remove the /example post bit, you'd go to /SEO, and that would be the category.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, if it was indexed with the category in the URL, does that redirect to that new?
That would 301 redirect. The problem comes when you have that enabled and then disable it.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, you can see how this leads to problems.
Yeah.
It's a good place for it in the advanced side.
Yeah.
And that's why most of this stuff is hidden, because the defaults are actually pretty good.
Right.
A lot of these functions also predate Canonical.
Right.
So as soon as Canonical came out, a lot of these things didn't make as much sense.
Right. And does it now change the Canonical as well?
So if you change the URL, yes, it changes to Canonical, because we change to Canonical everywhere. So by default, WordPress puts a Canonical on posts and pages.
Yeah.
And when you enable our plugin, it puts a Canonical on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you change the URL in some way, then we fix the Canonical. Yeah.
Okay. And down below, I wanted to ask you about this, where it says clean up the head.
Yeah. Those are going away because I don't think they're that useful anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
You have to realize that a lot of this plugin is something that I built on my own.
Sure.
For like 6 years, and now with a team for the last 2 years. So there's code in there that's almost 8 years old.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask you why you would hide an RSS feed.
And very back in the beginning, SEOs were very interested in keeping the head section of a site as small as possible.
Sure.
I still want to do that, and then I look at, okay, so we've got Open Graph, we've got Twitter cards.
Yeah.
We've got some other stuff, and basically we've just added 44 lines of craft.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, let's check that box to remove. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So removing those is not a very high priority. So we'll move that into a small plugin that people can install if they still want to do that, and then get rid of it in the main plugin.
Okay. And then the let's see, where are we at?
You got the tools,
Yeah, tools.
bulk editor and stuff like that.
It's actually some of the more powerful stuff in the plugin. There's a bulk editor there that you can use to bulk edit titles and meta descriptions of pages and posts. There is an import and export setting there where if you use all-in-one SEO, you could switch to our plugin and then go to import and then just import all the SEO settings straight from all-in-one SEO. And you can also export your SEO settings so you can reuse them on another site. I actually recently did a post on that, on how you can use that if you have a specific set of settings that you want to do in every site you work on. You can just import specific groups of settings.
Yeah. One thing I wish that you had on here is a redirect tool.
There is if you have premium, there is a redirect tool.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Premium.
So if you have Yoast SEO Premium, we have a complete redirect manager in there that allows you to do 301s, 302s, 307s, whatever you want.
Wow.
And allows you to import them from HTXS files. It allows you to export them to HTXS files. It also, when you change the URL of a post, it will tell you to change to add a redirect. If you delete a post or page, it will tell you to add a redirect. If you change a category URL or a tag URL, it will tell you to redirect the old one to the new one.
Nice.
In fact, it will automatically create that redirect and give you a pop-up telling you you can remove it if you want to. So we do have that. That's in Yoast SEO Premium. I think it's one of the most important functions that we have in Yoast SEO Premium.
Mm-hmm.
What is just for the listeners? What is the cost if you want to upgrade to a premium? Is it a monthly subscription? Is it one time?
Currently,
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
It's currently a yearly. It's a yearly fee of $69 for one site, and it goes up if you have multiple sites, but it becomes less per site.
That's a bargain.
Yeah. I think it's a bargain.
Yeah.
And a ton of people do, which is good because that allows us to grow.
Right.
We were at 89. Then we did a sale last December where we went to 69, and the sale did so tremendously well that we decided to keep it at 69. Because we can handle it. Our support team is so good now that we can handle all that. So you get in Yoast SEO Premium, you get a couple of things. You get support to our support team. You get access to our support team, and you get a redirect manager that is very solid. And you get the option to have, instead of one focus keyword, you can have up to 5 focus keywords per post or page.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I think functionality there every release, basically.
Yeah. And then you have the Search Console integration. That's great.
Yeah. So we moved that from premium to free.
Okay.
Because we just think it's too important. The only thing that you don't have if you've got the free version, you can see all the errors, but you can't really fix them.
Yeah.
If you've got the premium version, you can fix them all just by redirecting them out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So on a site where we go in, if we do site reviews, we go in and sometimes we'll just see okay, you've got a couple of errors that seem to happen a lot, and let's just fix those. And then it's 2 minutes work. You fix the most common issues, and
yeah,
it's very easy.
Okay. Now we have the extensions. I just kind of want to talk a little bit about those, as far as I know, the video SEO, news SEO, local SEO. Can you kind of expand a little bit on those features?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's of course, a ton of stuff in SEO that requires you to do specific things.
Yeah.
Sure.
So video SEO used to be even more powerful back when Google was still showing video snippets for everyone in the search results. But right now, it basically allows you to show up with the posts that contain videos. It allows you to show up in the video search results in Google.
Right.
Local SEO does the same thing for local and news for news. So it gives you, news SEO gives you a specific news XML sitemap. Video SEO gives you a video XML sitemap and all the metadata on the page that you need. News SEO does all the specific stuff that you'd need to do for Google News, like standout tags.
Is there any markup to that?
So there's markup to that on the page. There's a specific XML News sitemap. There's a specific RSS feed for standout content and featured content. There's a ton of things. There's a couple of very big news sites actually using those. Wired uses us, and a couple of others that use those extensions to manage how they show up in Google News.
Okay, and that's a yearly subscription as well.
Yeah, that's a yearly subscription as well. All of those are $69. We actually have one package in which they're all combined, but I don't think many people need them all combined.
Yeah,
right.
And local SEO is actually very cool because you can do two things with that. One is very obvious, where if you have like a local shop, it helps you with the local search optimization. But it also allows you to, if you have multiple locations, it allows you to create a custom post type for your locations and create a map with those locations on there. It has a store finder functionality in there and a couple of other very neat things.
Very cool.
Nice. So you get your local citation stuff.
Especially with a company with a lot of locations that can clean a lot up real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it always surprises me when I see people like, so we've built this site and we had a store locator and it was very expensive. And I'm like, you could have had that for $69.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So I think we covered everything on the plugin. Now we wanted to kind of jump back with you. You did some posts on the last update that came out Friday with Panda.
Yeah.
And wanted to just get your thoughts on that.
Get your thoughts. What do you thought about it?
I hit publish on 2 new posts right before I jumped into this call.
Nice.
It's not Panda. That much is clear.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, but everybody's saying it's Panda, and I'm like...
Well, Google has now confirmed themselves that it's not Panda and it's not Penguin. So what they have updated is the rankings for brand terms.
Gotcha.
So if you search for YouTube, what shows up there has changed quite a bit in terms of there used to be news articles there, and those seem to be mostly replaced by relatively timeless stuff.
Gotcha.
So for YouTube, for instance, a couple of news articles would have been replaced by the YouTube category for Mashable. The funny thing is that because it changed a whole lot of search results, a lot of SEOs out there thought that this was a huge impact. But terms like that generally don't drive that much traffic to anyone outside of the number 1 position.
Yeah.
We ranked number 4 for Google Analytics, and we get 0 traffic.
Wow.
Because if you search for Google Analytics, where do you want to go?
Right to analytics.
You want to go to Google Analytics. It's a purely navigational search. Searching for YouTube, 99.99% of those people wants to go to YouTube.
Right.
So the traffic on that is very close to 0 if you're not the number 1.
Yeah.
So changes in that have a huge impact in visibility scores and all the big tools. But that's because they don't calculate the visibility score differently for navigational searches. So I think it's basically much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
The impact overall to actual websites traffic will not be that big. The only thing I think is interesting is that they seem to be showing a lot more category type pages in the search results than they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think they're leaning more on the branded side?
The entire update, I've looked at search metrics a lot. If you look at the winners and losers and what they lost and won for, it was almost entirely brand traffic.
Okay.
And most sites don't get their business from brand traffic other than their own brand,
Right.
and that wouldn't have changed. So it's not like some people suddenly stopped ranking for their own brand.
Right.
So it's new sites that were impacted by this, and they were impacted because they ranked number 5, 6, or 7 for brand terms.
Mm-hmm.
And all combined, that will have some impact on their traffic. But for instance, if you look at search metrics, then The Atlantic, which I use in my article as an example, would have lost 25% of their traffic or visibility, but I think it's less than 2% of their traffic.
Wow.
So it's a whole lot of changes, but mostly something that most sites will not see as that big of an impact.
Yeah.
So it's something that SEOs can talk about for a whole day, but doesn't really impact any real business.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Got another question?
Yeah. I in my background is I do a lot of content marketing and link building, and I like with somebody that's, been in SEO for a long time. I kind of have this question. What do you think people are doing wrong with link building?
Well, just about everything. The problem is that most people start with getting links to content that's inferior.
Yeah.
So if they'd start with getting superior content, getting links wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
I've honestly never done link building for Yoast.com and never needed it.
Yeah.
And we rank for some pretty heavily competitive terms. It starts out with having great content, great tools, etc. And if your link building doesn't start with that, then you're doing it wrong. And if it does start with that, then doing outreach actually can help quite a bit. But at that point, it really becomes very close to traditional PR.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we preach.
Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge. I always like to say you got to let your content do your link building for you. I mean, there's some outreach efforts that go into it and relationship building and stuff like that can improve your efforts. But, it's no longer link building. And we used this term before. I forgot who I got it from. It's more link earning, where, your stuff's earning links for you. And it's natural, and you get those really authoritative links. It's not quantity, it's quality, and that's how you're going to earn that.
I absolutely agree. It's earned media in many ways.
Yeah.
Link building doesn't have to be hard, but it really becomes hard when you're trying to push stuff that doesn't work. So I agree, and I always tell people, like, okay, if you're not getting links, then is it because people don't know you?
Yeah.
or
is it because they know you but are not interested in linking to you?
Yeah.
And there are different problems to solve.
Right. Right.
Yeah, there's one thing I wish that you could do, you probably couldn't do, but getting user data back from the use of your plugins, maybe get correlations from, how people are ranking versus, that type of stuff. Well, I know you're not a data mining company, but that would be interesting data.
Yeah.
I wish we could, but we're not allowed to by it.
Yeah, I know that.
For the plugin, kind of, what are some of the most common feedback or requests or issues that you do get from users? Is there kind of one central theme, or do you kind of see a few reoccurring pretty commonly? Is there anything like specific?
If there was, we'd have built it. There's a lot of user feedback. It usually goes in a lot of directions.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people that actually, because everything's open source, we actually get contributions that are sometimes very good, and which we'll happily include. But most of the things that we've heard a lot are things that we've already included or have high up on our roadmap. Not really specific things, I think, mostly because users don't really know what's possible.
Yeah.
So we have some things on our roadmap that I think are very cool, which I'd love to come talk about once we've released them.
Okay, absolutely.
But it's just people think in what they already know.
Yeah.
And we're trying to come up with stuff that will actually change things.
Right.
Gotcha. So now, aside from the SEO plugin, what other tools do you have? Plugin tools for WordPress?
So we have a Google Analytics plugin still, with only like 1.5 million users, which allows you to tag your site with the Google Analytics tag and then do some optimization around that to add some extra metadata that you otherwise wouldn't have in your analytics. We've got a couple more tools that's basically just open sourcing what we use on Yoast.com. So we have plugins specifically for comment handling.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, we don't focus on that all that much. One of the things we've been focusing on for the last year or so is that last release of Yoast SEO, where everything became JavaScript instead of PHP,
right.
Which means that instead of running on the server, a lot of it runs in your browser now. And the reason for us doing that was that we wanted to get ready to move to other platforms too. So we've recently released Yoast SEO for Drupal,
mm-hmm.
and we're also looking at doing that for other platforms.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming to the show.
Yes, thank you so much.
Being a guest, it's a pleasure and great to talk to you.
Yeah, we'd love to do it again sometime for sure.
Well, I'd love to be on it if we can do it at this time. I'm all woken up and happy. So
yeah,
yeah. I mean, we've got some exciting things happening in the show. I can't really say anything right now, but it's going to increase our listenership tremendously.
Good. Yeah,
and,
got a lot going on, and having somebody with your stature on the show definitely helps, and we really appreciate you taking the time for us.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
Yeah, and
good luck with the show, and let's talk soon.
Yeah, thanks again.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Guys, I want to thank you for listening to Search Talk Live again. Thanks for your support.
Yes.
We are here every Tuesday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can call in anytime with your questions, comments at 855-722-0006.
Make sure to visit searchtalklive.com as well.
Yes, absolutely. You can download us on iTunes. You can listen to us on our website.
Yes.
And sometimes we even do blabs.
Yes.
During the show.
And thank you to the Robert Palmer family of companies. We appreciate your help and support again. RobertPalmerCompanies.com. Make sure to check it out.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.